Hello, Miss Shruti Kamble. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Hello, Lisa.
We
How
are.
are you doing?
I'm doing fine. We're so glad to have you back. I bet Erik has missed you, although he was probably with you in India during
He
some of
was
the trials and tribulations that you experienced over there.
definitely, yeah, he was there. I never lose him. He's always around the corner.
Oh boy, just pestering and pestering, but we love
Pestering.
him. I love you, Erik.
He's making a voice. I love you, Mama.
Oh,
That's what he's doing.
oh. Well, we had a birthday. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now he was just saying hello to everyone else as
Okay.
well.
We had a little birthday dinner for you, but also Annika, who had her birthday on the 14th, and Lucas, who has his on the 29th. So we had surf and turf.
Yeah, he said it was a lot
And
of fun.
it was, yeah, it was fun. All right, today we're going to talk about something that one blog member thought it would be a good idea. Consciousness. Really, in life, really in general. What is consciousness, Erik? How do you define it?
Oh, he was doing something. When you said consciousness, it was like ba ba ba.
Ba, 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 like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the big questions, he's
Oh,
saying.
yeah. Drum roll, please. That sort of thing.
So, yeah. So, what is consciousness? He's saying consciousness is like a mirror. It's clear and it's reflective.
Well, that
That's
sounds so deep, but I don't quite understand it.
um yeah, so we'll ask him to explain that. He's saying that that's the purest nature of consciousness is to be it's to be nothing. It's to be just sort of like a reflective sheet or a mirror which just sort of observes what's there and reflects it. It's just like sort of holding information in.
Oh, wow.
And
What does it reflect it to? What does it reflect, and what does it reflect to?
he says it can reflect anything, and it reflects to the other sort of it reflects to itself, he says,
Oh,
because so anything sort of separate, let's say if there are like 10 mirrors, they all reflect to each other,
ah,
so the other can access what the other has, and they all are actually one in that way.
oh, yeah,
There's
of
still a
course.
separateness, but there's still one. Does that make
Oh,
sense? I
yeah.
can I can tell you what sort of image it is that he's given me in my mind. I can see like sort of, let's say there are like 10 mirrors in circle, and they're
Mm-hmm.
all reflecting to each other, and they can all see what the other mirror is reflecting. So
Oh, wow.
if you look into one mirror, you can see all the other mirrors. So in a sense, they are separate, but they can still access every other mirror. They can
Wow.
still see what's in every other mirror. So that's the sort of image in my mind.
Okay. Is it a vessel of information, or or a gatherer of information? Is that what you're saying?
He's saying, Mom, what you're talking about is the purpose. And
Ah,
it differs.
okay.
So the purpose differs with every consciousness.
I see. But is one of them, it's all of it, everybody's consciousness. The purpose is to observe and gather information and or process it. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with, with information.
A large part of it has the purpose of gathering information or trying to access all the information, all that is, trying to learn everything and all that is,
Oh,
which is a process of learning.
okay.
It's a learning process, and Yeah.
Is it a learning process or is a remembering process?
It's a remembering process, really. But remembering, when you learn, you remember that you know this already,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's something that you can try to do it forever,
Yeah.
but it's never going to stop.
Oh, wow. That sounds exhausting. Oh my gosh. Okay. I just got through cleaning up the rest of the dishes for our little party, so I'm already tired. Uh, is it self-aware always? Or is that only in certain like higher, I hate to be, say there's a hierarchy, but, or is that limited to higher levels of consciousness, like humans, certain
It's
animals?
it's not always self-aware consciously, but it's self-aware unconsciously always, and that's why we can have this sort of reality, a sense of this reality,
Mm-hmm.
because unconsciously we're always sort of connected to our higher consciousness.
Yeah, that's true. When it takes in this information, does it always process it, or is it just observe it and do nothing with that information?
But he's saying the problem is that we need to process it. If we can just be the observer, we would be much happier.
Oh, but do we need to process it? Or is it like, oh, I see that point A, observe, click. I already knew that, click.
So for how long do we need to process it? Mm. He's talking about God, that's so complicated. He's talking about we have to process it till we feel the need to process it.
Oh, until, okay, you process it if you feel the need to.
Yes, and we feel the need to process it when it's sort of affecting us in some way.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what is it made of? Is it made of neutrinos? Or, I mean, is it made of just raw energy? I don't know. What is consciousness made of, Erik?
Well, it's interesting. I have an image in my head.
You're so good with those images, Trudy.
Um, what I can see essentially is just colors. But I don't. It doesn't make sense to me. What?
Okay, Erik, make sense of it, sweetie. Give her some words to go along with those colors.
Consciousness is made up of colors. There must be more to it, isn't there? So,
Energy waves? I mean, colors are a form of energy. Is it made of light? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know how to explain it, but it sort of feels like this cosmic sort of energy, some sort of energy.
Okay,
You know?
so it's energy,
And
like everything.
it has a rhythm to it. It has.
Oh.
It's not. I don't think like there's you can touch it. I don't feel like you can sort of touch it or feel it in some way, but it has a rhythm, it has a wave, it has a vibration to it.
Oh, of course, and it has a variety of colors to it too.
Yes, yeah, I can see especially shades of sort of bluish and greens. Those,
Oh,
the teal, green, sea green, all those shades, blue and green mainly.
do those colors, the energy, change as it's observing or processing information?
It's constantly changing, constantly.
Oh, cool. So, in observing, consciousness can observe externally, but it can also observe internally, I guess, right? Like my consciousness can observe my inner landscape.
That's such a cool question, and what he's telling me is so cool.
Oh, tell me.
doesn't make sense though to me. What he's saying is, let me try to explain to you. So let's say like there are these mirrors, yeah, or let's say there's this one mirror that we are observing into.
Okay.
Right. So the mirror is, let's say, a personality, and it's observing us.
Okay.
And when it's observing us, it can see us. But what will happen if the mirror has to see itself and there's nothing in front?
Okay.
So so it's all about, it's so difficult to see yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it is about that. It is about what we are trying to do is we are trying to see this mirror, that mirror. So everyone else, we're trying to learn about or remember
Mm-hmm.
by looking outside towards everything else.
Right.
But if we are able to look within to self,
Mm-hmm.
in that we see everything else. So that's what we really need to do. We just need to look within, because when we look within, it already has everything else in it.
Well, interesting. And that means including our past experiences, our future experiences, our lives, our personality, our flaws and quirks and strengths, and everything about us, right? Every facet of ourselves.
Every facet, everything about us. If we are able to see who this is, who this personality is, who this person is, who this consciousness is, if we are able to be aware of ourselves, like a mirror, so we sort of are able to observe everything that's happening within us.
Mm-hmm.
In that we can see everything else.
Wow.
We learn about everything that we ever wanted to learn.
That's
by learning
cool.
ourselves.
So we could do that in a vacuum, and we could do that in a padded cell, so to speak. We could learn about everything just by observing and knowing ourselves.
Everything, yeah. You can do it
Wow.
anywhere.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because we already know it, right? We just come down here with spiritual amnesia. All right, can you give me an example of a consciousness, like a human consciousness, and we'll compare it to well, first of all, does a rock have consciousness?
Yep.
Okay, so let's compare that observing and processing with a human and compare it to that of a rock. Is there some sort of tangible example we can use? Like, what do you want to say that consciousness is going to observe what, Eric? Just somebody walking into Kroger's, or, somebody's funeral. I don't know what.
So comparing the consciousness of a rock with that of a human.
Mm-hmm.
And what are they here to observe?
Okay, well, you can give me an example, Eric, if you want. What would be an example of maybe something that I have observed, my consciousness has observed today?
Mm-hmm.
How about the stack of dirty dishes? I know that's kind of mundane, but it's tangible. So I'm observing all these dishes, and I can't make anybody do them because, it's my birthday. I don't want to clean up. No. We give them a free pass on chores when it's their birthday. Usually it extends for a whole week, but whatever. All right, so I'm facing these dishes and thinking, that's a lot of stuff to clean up.
He's talking about the rock consciousness, and the rock is here to observe. He's talking about stability. He's talking about patience. He's talking about the slowing down of everything, slowing down of life. So seeing the minutest, that's beautiful, that image. All right, so a rock can be here to observe what a drop of water can do to it.
Oh yeah, you wrote it. Yeah.
Like when these drops of water fall on this very strong rock, over millions of years, those little drops of water can do so much change, can bring in so much change in this rock.
Yeah.
So, or if a drop of water gets into a little crack inside the rock and then freezes, it can break it. So, these are the type of things that a rock can observe.
Okay, what about I've got it by my sink and the rock is right there with all the dirty dishes. What is the consciousness going through so I can compare apples to apples?
So the rock is observing dirty dishes and you are observing dirty dishes in two different...
Right. Exactly.
So funny.
That's kind of weird, I know, but... Uh-oh.
Right. So the rock will say, "What the fuck am I doing over here inside the
That is so Eric. What the fuck am I doing by these dirty dishes? You don't expect me to clean it up, do you? Funny.
Eric. And you can observe, Mom, if what do you get from these dirty dishes? These dirty dishes that you're focusing your attention towards. What do you get from it?
I get a zen feeling. I complained about it, but
that's what he's saying, that you love dirty dishes.
I love to clean them, and I love accomplishing things, and it's like, to me, a form of active meditation, because I'm not very good at the passive stuff. But yeah. And just a remembering that it was such a lovely time, and getting them all cleaned and put up, etc. Doing something that somebody else might have had to do, but I do it for them. So it makes me feel good about helping. So that's what I get out of it. What's the rock get out of it?
The rock doesn't, it's not in its consciousness.
Okay.
So, but for us, it's like, what do we need from anything that we're observing? We're observing it for a reason. It's because there's some sort of need involved.
Oh.
And we sort of get something from it. And it's that need and getting something from it that is grasping our attention.
Okay. That's interesting.
Keeping our consciousness on it. And it's again something outside of us. So as long as we look at something outside of us to get hooked to fulfill any of our needs, we are still looking outside, Mom.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So rock has consciousness. What about, tree? Like, what about, plants, trees, all that? Do they have also a consciousness?
Everything that we can see tangibly has.
Oh, wow. I guess if a rock does, a tree does. What kind of consciousness do trees and other plants have?
Everything that they go through in their life cycle as a tree, they observe, they feel, they touch this through the senses that they have come into this world with. They are processing information in some way.
Wow. So like the rock, is it more about what's happening to them? Is that what they mostly observe and process?
Yeah, it is about what's happening to them and how they are surviving in spite of whatever is happening around them. It's about survival. It's about growth. It's about regeneration.
Okay, cool. Now, then it gets chopped down and turned into my desk. That's wood. Does the consciousness change in some way? Oh, poor tree. I'm so sorry.
It does change. He's saying that.
Okay. And in what way does it change?
The growing stops.
Yeah.
The fight for survival stops.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a different type of consciousness.
I really feel guilty for my desk because I got so frustrated by this one little thing falling off. This little thing, you see it?
Uh-huh.
It's part of my recording device. So I
Mhm.
gorilla glued it to the desk. That is never going to come. Geez, I don't know what else. Oh, I wasn't thinking. That's right. But anyway, so there you have it. I'm so sorry, Wood.
It's having that experience, Mom. He's saying it's having that experience.
Yeah. With gorilla glue. All right, what about just any inanimate object? Let's say something that is made by man, like a telephone. What kind of consciousness does it have?
He's talking about the elements that the telephone is made up of.
Okay.
Material that we hold in our hand, and we sort of do the putting in the numbers, and then there's the chip in it,
Yeah.
the software in it,
Mm-hmm.
and the way the energy into place, with the software, and then
Yeah.
all of that. So that has a type of intelligence, a type of consciousness, energy exchange. Consciousness means energy. It's exchanging information and energy within itself. So if we look at it, everything is exchanging energy with everything else
Oh, okay.
in some way.
Wow.
And everything is connected at energetic level.
Yeah.
Literally, he's saying literally. So the tree, we sort of pick a fruit from a tree, we eat it,
Yeah.
and the flesh of the fruit becomes our flesh.
Uh-huh. That's
It
true.
becomes to us, and then we take a massive shit, and then it goes and becomes another tree.
There we go. Of course, he has to be scatological about it. All right, so that's interesting. Well, what about like molecules and atoms?
Molecules and atoms. So what about them? Sorry.
What kind of consciousness do they have?
Mm.
Like a water molecule and a hydrogen atom, for example, those two.
He is talking about a potential consciousness.
Hmm.
There is a potential consciousness. So these molecules have a potential to take on any form.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a potential energy.
Ah.
So at the very, very, what do you call it, the miniature, the minutest level,
Mm-hmm.
we are all potential consciousnesses. We are all
Oh,
potential
okay.
energy.
Yeah.
And this potential energy can take any form and any shape, anything. It can become an emotion, it can become a thought,
Wow.
it can become a human, it can become a tree. So this potential energy is what it is at the minutest level, that can take any form and any shape. And
Here's the miracle of creation, of creativity.
it's our will, our intention, our thoughts that help us to create sort of any potential energy into our physical reality and
Yeah.
manifestation.
All right. But of course, we're not the only ones that take these like particles or energy and change it, like chemical reactions. Of course, you have chemical reactions that they, combine H and O and you got water. We don't do that unless we can want to do it in a lab. It just, kind of happens.
It just
So
happens.
why?
Yeah.
Does those two consciousness say, hey, man, you want to hook together and make water, a water droplet? How does that work? Where am I going?
He's talking about some sort of laws that the physical laws. He's going on to that.
Okay.
the physical laws that govern this physical reality.
Mm-hmm.
So, things, so, but there are many things which don't follow the physical laws.
Or laws we don't know about.
Yeah. But he's talking about how everything is connected via these sort of these. He's using a word, layers. I can,
Okay.
the word which would translate to sort of layers of
Okay.
laws. They
Oh,
keep
okay.
changing with sort of every vibration,
Okay.
dimension. It keeps changing these laws, and within these sort of vibrations, the dense vibrations that we are living in at the moment, there are these certain physical laws that are followed, and every sort of molecule, every energy, it follows them in this 3D dimension. And
Mm-hmm.
then as we sort of progress dimensionally, the laws change.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in this dimension we have time, we have space,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. And then you go further, and then there is no time and space, and then there is further. And then, he's talking about sort of these
Oh,
laws that govern the sort of how these molecules are converted into whatever it is, how
okay.
this potential energy is converted into other energies, mass energy, let's say, or any heat energy,
Yeah.
um, water energy.
Okay.
And
Yeah. I get it. So, physical laws are different in different dimensions. Are they different in different universes also?
are they different in different universes? It's really dependent on the vibration, not so depending on the
Oh,
vibration
okay.
that universe has.
Okay.
It will have the laws, but then he's talking about there are some laws which are shared by all the universes
Oh,
together,
okay.
all the everything, all the planes.
Okay.
It's the same everywhere. There are some laws
Some
like
laws
that.
that are constant. All right. And now I forgot to ask, we're talking about my desk. You know, it's made by man. Somebody chops down the tree, then so and so, and they, the carpenter, makes it into a desk. Does the consciousness or energy or whatever of the people handling it, even the person delivering it, etc., somehow is it involved in the consciousness of the wood of the desk now?
Yes, so we everything, starting from the how that seed was planted
Oh yeah, yeah,
till when that become a grown up tree, and then the consciousness of the person who made it into desk, they all are exchanging this energy in some way. The tree is, they all are interacting with each other, and they all
yeah,
are affecting each other. The tree has, it's not, he's saying, we think that it's only the carpenter that has affected the tree, but there are ways in which the tree has also affected the carpenter.
yeah. It's like just the remembrance of the beauty he or she created. Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. So there's that beautiful exchange of energy involved in creation.
The
Now,
physical energy and the emotional energy and
yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, now I want to talk about uh, what is life as how would you define life, Eric?
Life, as in on this planet.
Yeah, I guess just well, life, just plain old life. How do you distinguish something that's living and not living? What is life?
Mm.
So simple little trivial questions I'm asking here.
Well, he was, when you were talking about just life in general, he was saying it's consciousness. It's just another word for consciousness. And um, if you if you're talking about sort of differentiation, then it's just sort of emotions, I guess. You know.
Okay, like a
Um,
rock is not alive, at least you know, in our concept of biology, maybe that's just because that is man's definition of life.
It's the
So
different levels of life, you know, it's the different levels of consciousness. But you can, well, in this world, we give anything a legitimate sort of definition of alive
yeah.
when it has a movement,
Uh-huh. Oh, okay.
and when it shows growth in some
Hmm.
way.
Hmm.
So that can define life, you know, something that grows,
Right.
has a movement, and
Yeah.
has emotions.
And can reproduce. Does it
It
have
can
to?
reproduce, yeah.
All right. So that's kind of man's, you know, the biologist definition of life. What is the spirits who know everything almost? It is from your viewpoint. What do you guys? How do you guys define life? Consciousness? Is that what you said, or something different?
How do you define life? Wow, wow, very cool. He's saying we are life. I mean, everything here is alive, he's saying.
Yeah.
Everything
Okay.
here has an intention, a will,
Mm. Ah.
um, um, a goal, sort of a desire, or everything here is alive, he says. So
Is it
from
something
my
that progresses
perspective,
forward?
everything is alive.
Okay. So is
Yeah.
that, are you talking about things that move forward? Not in, not
He's saying no, no, he's explaining it
or
alive
evolve
in the
or
sense he can interact with everything.
okay.
It's about he can have an interaction with it. So
Oh, so
that for him is alive.
all right. So anything you can interact with is alive,
Yeah,
and
he for him.
anything that can interact with you is alive.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that is the flow of energy
Mm-hmm.
again. So a rock is alive according to spirit, the spirit world.
Very much so, he
Wow,
says.
that's so cool. Well, look at crystals. You know, I mean, gosh. Okay, now there's a lot of controversy among biologists in the field of biology as to whether a virus fits the definition of alive in the biology model. In a biology model, would it be considered alive? I know you already know it's alive because you can interact with it and sneeze because of it. But anyway, what about that?
Virus, whether it's alive or not.
Something it is, something it isn't in our current biology model of life.
He's taking time. He's taking his time on this one. He's saying, I would say it's alive.
Of course, because everything's alive that you can interact with according to you. That's cool.
But
But
according to the biological model,
yeah.
he's talking about the way it sort of breeds and multiplies.
Hmm.
That is different, isn't it? He's saying because of the way it breeds and multiplies, that is where the confusion is created. Is that true?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Um, does it sort of multiply like an amoeba?
No, it relies on getting the RNA from, or think RNA, ribonucleic acid, from other organisms in order to reproduce. So
Mm.
it can't just do it on its own. It relies on something else, I think.
No,
Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure you will.
no, but that's what he was saying. He's saying because of the way it reproduces, that's where the confusion is. He was
Right,
saying,
right.
uh, but but he's saying if it was up to me, I would say that as long as it's doing something to because it has the consciousness to grow
Hmm.
and stay alive and survive and grow, he would categorize it as alive.
I would too. To be alive, does that always involve evolution, that you have to evolve in some way? Even a rock or my desk? It has evolved. It's got gorilla glue all over it. Ah, sorry. I'm going to pet it. I'm so sorry.
Well, he's categorizing it in a different way. um, sorry, lost that thought. What were you saying? It was about evolve.
Yeah. Do you have to evolve? Does all life evolve? All forms of life evolve? I guess that's the
He's talking
simple.
about, yes, everything is changing in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is changing because nothing in this world stands alone and is separate, truly separate from everything else, and it gets affected by, even the rock gets affected by the weather,
Yeah.
and the huge rocks which turn into sand, and that's how
Yeah.
they change their consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And then they change into something else. Some rocks might become a crystal. So
Yeah.
everything is evolving and changing, but the difference here is evolving into something of their own species, sort of passing down their own genetics, the
Okay.
unique information that is held into their consciousness. So
Mm-hmm.
a human reproducing another human, a tree reproducing another tree, but a rock doesn't reproduce another rock.
Unless
It,
somebody carves it in half, but they didn't do that. So
it can change into a crystal. That's
yeah.
how it can change, but
Okay.
it doesn't sort of reproduce another. It doesn't pass down that genetic information.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you see the difference? That's what he's
Oh
talking
yeah. Sure. Sure. All right. What about cells? Tell me about their consciousness. They're almost like little life forms themselves, you know? They reproduce, they've got this brain, the nucleus in, and they've got this little mitochondria, the powerhouse. I mean, it's really incredible. That's why I majored in biology, because I think it's amazing to think that we're so complicated. Life is so complicated. And down to a cellular level, it's so intricate and amazing and perfect. And I'm so glad that we don't have to be, consciously control everything that's going on a subcellular level. Can you imagine? Okay, transfer RNA. I want you to make this protein right now. Oh, wait. First do this, and all this, enzyme, coenzyme that needs to hook to zinc. And oh my God. But anyway, back to the cell and its consciousness.
So the question is about the cell's consciousness.
Yes.
So what it is, really, that's the
Yeah.
question.
Describe it, I guess.
He's talking about it sort of being like a vehicle or a bridge. Cells are like a bridge that that fill the gap between the unconscious and conscious.
Really?
That sort of
Wow.
a bridge between the physical and non-physical
Yeah.
existence.
Okay.
So,
Ooh, cool.
when the non-physical is actually being translated into physical, the cells sort of bridge that gap and are like the the things that actually um, are formed or change,
Mm-hmm.
and so they are like how do I describe this? He's not using correct words.
Eric, just give her a sentence. One sentence, one phrase or sentence at a time.
He's sort of going all over the place.
No, he used to do that a lot. Going down the rabbit hole.
They are the ones who actually translate the energy into the physical reality. So they sort of are the carrier of the information and the doers of um, the manifestors.
Oh,
And
wow. So
so
cells are what's responsible for manifesting our reality?
yes.
Wow. Why do they have thoughts? So that
No, they are the ones that can process the thoughts and the unconscious
yeah.
and turn it
All the
into
cells? Or just the brain?
turn into the physical and take a physical form up as per the
Oh.
thoughts.
Uh,
So they
so
take.
so even a kidney cell, or is it just brain cells that do this manifesting?
Oh, any cell, not just the brain
Wow,
cell.
that is amazing. How does it do it? Is it like, what part of the cell does that, if there is just one part?
He's talking about the center
Okay,
nucleus.
right.
That's the control center
Okay.
that is actually adjusting to the vibration. He's talking about the vibration that
Oh.
they are sort of controlling the vibration and the change in the molecule
Mm-hmm.
and the structure of the cell.
Mm-hmm.
So, where the other circles are rotating,
Okay.
or in which orbit they are, it has like an orbit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's a nucleus, there's an orbit, and then there are electrons. What are they called?
Oh, you're talking about atoms. Okay, then that would be, or molecules or whatever. That would be like a nucleus and then electrons and protons going around. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
what I can see in my mind. There's like this,
Okay. But in the
there's something in
cell,
the
is
center,
it okay.
but aren't they made up of the atoms as well, the cells?
Okay. Yeah, well, everything's made of
Yeah. So
atoms, yeah.
so he's
In the cell, is it the nucleus, the brain of the cell? Does it involve mitochondria? Um, what do you call it? The microtubules that are responsible for cell division and structure? Is it the vacuoles? What is it in the cell that is, if any, is the main component responsible for manifestation?
well, he was going into the atoms because that's what I think he
Okay.
was thinking in my head. But if you ask about cell, um, so what is in the cell that he's talking about the thing that holds the information.
Okay, so probably the nucleus, the what has the DNA and all that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's what is in sort of in control and is deciding on um, depending on what information it's getting from the outside.
Yeah,
It changes and it takes on that form and blah blah blah, and that's how the physical reality is manifested.
that is so cool. Uh, Bruce Lipton wrote a book, The Biology of Belief, and he feels like our thoughts can actually change our biology, even on a subcellular level. It can even change DNA, and that's why some
That's what
people
that's
some people like one of my nurses, Betty Jo McDaniels. Oh my God, she always, since she was like in her 20s, she always thought she was going to get colon cancer, and guess what? She got colon cancer toward the end of her life. So that thought can change your DNA, and so yeah.
that is exactly what he was saying.
So that's the manifestation the cell does.
Your thoughts, yeah, that's your thoughts, and the thing that's holding the information in the cell, which is affected by your thoughts, and sort of it depending on what thoughts and what information is being fed to it, certain things are sparked. There's a spark in it, and certain things are triggered,
Yeah.
and depending on what's triggered, it's manifesting. Let's say if there are like 10 things, and if number one is triggered, then it manifests into something else, it changes in some way. If number two is triggered, then something else is happening. If number three is triggered, then something else is happening. So depending on what it's getting through our thoughts, the thoughts coming from outside.
Yeah, because thoughts
So
have
that,
vibrations. Yeah. And so those vibrations have special unique frequency that can then affect the genetic material. Is that what you're saying?
yes, yes, yeah.
Okay. And then that genetic material can change and create vibrations that are energy that could turn into reality.
Yeah.
I guess, right?
Thoughts affecting the physical reality, I think
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
So that's how the law of attraction works. Wow, that is really cool. Um, archaebacteria, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think they're kind of fascinating because they can actually survive in hot lava. What is it with those little guys?
Yes, that can survive in hot lava. How can they? Is that the question? How they surviving there?
Oh, just anything. You want to tell me anything about those little guys?
Mm.
Well, they have a consciousness, obviously, like everything else.
Well,
What is he saying? Go ahead. Let the F-bombs fly. We've heard them before.
he's going on at that, Erik tangent. He's talking about they are just hot um people, they're just having fun and multiplying and
Oh, what
regenerating.
did he say, Shruti? Come on.
That's why,
Right.
they're just sort of having fun and reproducing.
Oh, so they're hot, horny fuckers. Is that what he
Yeah.
said? I knew it. Oh, Erik. Okay, well, that's fine. Now, I just only have two more questions really quickly because we're out of time. But I know Mother Earth has a consciousness.
Mhm.
Do stars, other planets, the moon, do these all have a form of consciousness?
They are all a collective consciousnesses.
Okay. Do they have can you tell me about describe the consciousness of Mother Earth or the moon or a star like our sun? What is it like? Is it self-aware? Does it have emotions? I mean, is it sentient? Does it think? Tell me about their consciousness. Consciousness is.
Mhm. Is it sentient? Yes.
Okay.
um it it has its own um course of evolution.
Mhm.
So it has its own will and intention,
Oh, wow. Okay.
which which accommodates for all of our will and intention.
Oh, okay.
But when it comes to um, when Mother Earth, let's say, will be destroyed in some way because of us, its own intention and will triumph.
Well, I
So
think that whatever we do, it's going to be our own extinction. Mother
right,
Earth will live on and recover.
exactly.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
what he's saying, that it is sentient and it has its own path of evolution to follow.
Okay. Does it have emotions?
It does. He said yes. He
Wow.
said that consciousness is sentient.
Bet it's pissed now. But
The
the
face.
stars and moons, the same thing, right? They have the same kind that Mother Earth have similar
No,
consciousness.
it's not paced. It's not affected.
Oh,
It
okay.
will follow its own plan of action.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So anyway, stars and the moon and all the other celestial bodies, you would
Everything
describe
is
their consciousness similarly. They have their own evolution. They have emotions. They're sentient, self-aware. Right.
self-aware.
Okay. Last question. Does all consciousness have emotions? Like even a rock, but in a different type of.
No, not every consciousness. So emotions are, well, it's a very, he's going on another rabbit hole.
Uh oh.
He's saying that every consciousness has observation, but not everyone has emotions. That's it.
Okay, I understand. So, like animals, plants, insects, all humans, those are the ones that have emotions. Cells, do they have emotions?
Cells in the body,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Okay. All right. Last really question. Okay. Um, humans have seemed like very complicated forms of consciousness with emotions, etc. How does the consciousness of, say, a dog, and then an insect or bird or other forms of life differ from human consciousness?
Differs in terms of, he's talking about the way we are connected to our higher self,
Uh-huh.
and how differs in the type of resistance the consciousness provides to that connection. So the complex you get, the more resistance you provide. So the animals sort of are better at channeling, are better
Oh,
at at uh, at getting to what they want on a spiritual level.
yeah.
They're able to get faster at whatever it is that they're wanting.
Yeah, they can hook up to their higher self.
They can directly hook up because they're sort of in that primal sort of animal
Yeah,
state, where it's live or die sort of
yeah,
situation. It's very much about survival.
yeah. So it's not, they don't analyze and apply
Analyzing.
logic, and which
No,
are stumbling blocks to connecting to
it's
your
like
higher
you
self.
get in here, you do whatever you need to, and you go. So
Right.
it's
Wow.
quick and resistance free sort of connection to the spiritual realm. And
Wow.
for us, we complicate it. We provide a lot of resistance. We analyze. We
Yeah.
think, and we. But because of that, also we sort of are able to reach higher levels of consciousness also,
Oh,
because
okay.
we analyze and blah blah blah.
Okay. So an insect, would that be very similar to a dog consciousness? I mean, well, do insects have emotions?
Sorry, insects.
Mhm.
I never thought about that. Do insects have emotions? He's saying no.
Okay, but I think like certain animals, like dogs, right? Cats.
They have a. They don't have emotions. He's talking about there's a collectiveness about it. He's talking about insects, but yes, dogs and cats, of course, have emotions.
Okay. What about birds?
Birds. I don't think so.
What about like a macaw? They're very, or an African gray parrot. They're so intelligent, but that doesn't mean they are crows, ravens. They're so intelligent, but I guess that doesn't mean they have emotions. But do they?
I don't think they have emotions.
Okay.
Very saying,
Um,
if you ask me, I would. My observation would say they have emotions, but he's saying no.
what about reptiles?
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. That's so weird. And I know that plants do because I saw The Secret Life of Plants, and that was so fascinating. It does prove that they do have emotions. Like, you guys have got to see The Secret Life of Plants, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I want to verify with that with Erik, of course. Yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, I don't understand how come birds don't have emotions.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy that, Erik. Come on, are you teasing us? I mean, some are really attached to their owners and give them kisses and stuff. Reptile, I saw one reptile video of a YouTube of a reptile that always wanted to sit in its owner's lap and snuggle and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, birds are so motherly and stuff. Yeah, I've
I
seen it
know,
as well.
yeah. But maybe we're confusing emotion for something else. You tell us,
No,
Erik.
no. I mean, he's what he's showing me is different pictures and things in my head. So what he was showing is birds are more oriented towards fear. That is the
Oh,
only emotion they have. So if you say emotion, then that's the emotion they have. They're
oh,
more
okay,
oriented to fear than
okay,
anything else. So that's what you want to count as emotion. He
okay.
says yes. But they don't have sort of, when you see those loving motherly,
Yeah,
they're he's not really saying that they are um
feeling love.
Like the way we do. It's not like
Right.
that.
It's like instinct because they're fear. They need to propagate the species, so they need to be motherly toward their young.
So in that way, he says, fine, fear is one of the emotions they have.
Fine,
But
we'll compromise.
trees have a collective emotions. They don't
Okay.
have individual emotions.
Okay. And like insects.
Yeah, insects.
Collective. All right. I promise this is the last one. Can we be incarnated as anything, including a rock, an insect, etc.?
100%. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm finished. Anything else you want to add, Erik or Shruti? If you want to ask any questions, and then we will share your information.
Yes. Why did you tell me birds? Don't understand about birds too. So, but yeah, we let that go.
Okay.
Let's see if Erik wants to add anything else. No, he's just saying stay cool. And I love you.
Cool. All right.
I
Love you
all, and
too.
yeah.
All right. You guys get in touch with Shruti at www.shruti. Well, I'll put it here. ShrutiComble.com. Camble or Comble?
Well, we call it Kamble.
Comble. Okay. And are you going to have any events now that you're back in the UK, right?
Yes, I'm back in the UK now. I'm planning for event next year.
Oh, good. Good. Well,
Trying
keep us posted. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you'd like to add or tell people what services you have to offer?
No, we just, sort of, there's a show called Bliss Me Now Forever on YouTube. If, people want to catch me and my friend Yoli talking about different things, channeling Gaia, and
Oh, cool.
also invited Jesus on, and we speak about dreams and many interesting things, so they can catch me on that.
All right. Well, email me that, and I will add it on a title page with when I post this. That sounds awesome, girl. Love you. I'm glad you're back. I will send you the link I told you I was going to send you. Erik, I love you too, and thank you so much for this.
Yes, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.